make sure that we're live.
Okay.
Okay, I believe we are live in the Tilt Together page. This is always that awkward time.
Sure. I know nothing, so I just follow your lead. I don't know anything.
This is the point where I make small talk and I double check to make sure it's working, and then people join and then they say, yes, we can hear you. So I am going to double check over here. All right, so we've got a viewer. If you are watching this, just do me a favor and say hello in the chat, in the thread, just so that I know you can hear, you can see, this is all working from your end. You could maybe post and say where you're watching this from. And we'll wait for just a minute for a few people to join us. Take a breath. I'm gonna have a sip of my coffee, which I just made under the wire, my afternoon coffee.
Well, I'll just look out at the snow while we wait.
You have snow?
Yeah, I'm only 2.5 hours north of you guys, and it's been snowing all day. So perfect.
Oh my
for
goodness.
talking about the Sunny Book.
Yeah. That is, wow. Okay. I'm sorry to hear that. I was lamenting that I have to bundle up for my run today, but it's certainly not that cold. All right. All right, let's get started, and then we'll kind of see who joins us. I've gotten a comment. I see us on there. So let me formally welcome you to Tilt Together. I don't even know if you're a member of this group, but this is my community for families, parents, caregivers in space who want to be able to connect with each other, to find resources and referrals and get advice, hard-won wisdom, all that kind of stuff. So
sure. It's a perfect spot.
I want to welcome. Yes, it is. It is. And I want to welcome everyone who's watching and introduce you to my guest today, Samantha Cotterill. And I'm going to read kind of your official bio, just so this is official. So Samantha is an award-winning picture book author and illustrator of many books for children. She's been featured in the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal for her art in The Jinx and the Doom Fight Crime. She has recently launched a book series for kids on the autism spectrum. I've got a whole bunch of books here.
Yay. Oh, you got the new one. Okay.
Yes, yes, I have it right here. And actually, we're doing a giveaway today.
Oh, perfect.
So
perfect
for this. So this is a book series for kids on the autism spectrum and or with sensory issues. It's called Little Senses. We actually talked about this on my podcast a while ago. Do you have 4 books total in this series?
4.
Yeah. Okay. 4. So This Beach is Loud. We have this one. We have Nope, Never, Not for Me. We have Can I Play Too? And then the brand new book, It Was Supposed to Be Sunny, which I think has just come out. Is that correct?
Yesterday.
Yes. Oh, happy book birthday. So This Beach is Loud was chosen for Dolly Parton's 2020 and 2021 book list for the Imagination Library, which is so cool.
Yes, and I'm so excited.
Yeah, and I feel like Dolly Parton is just one of those icons who just keeps, she's so beloved. She keeps.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I think if anything comes out of this whole series, the fact that the Imagination Library, I think the first run was about 400,000 copies that, and then the second 2021, I think it's around another 400,000 copies. So to know that that many families are getting access to Little Senses for no matter what, that's incredible. I mean, that enough was like, okay.
You can retire. You'd be done. Those are huge numbers.
Yeah, it's just, I think for me, it's just, all I think about is, I just equate to how many kids that entails that are getting their hands on this book. And that just, it's like mind-blowing.
That is so cool. Wow. Okay. And yes, Samantha works out of her studio in upstate New York, where she lives with her husband and 2 teenage sons, and apparently is still dealing with snow, even though it is April. So
snowing since 7 o'clock. So
oh my goodness. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And so just a quick check-in. How are you all doing? You know, we talked pre-COVID, pre-everything. I'm just like, I'd love to just check in and see how people are doing with craziness.
I mean, I have to say, we've been very lucky in that we're all healthy. We're all safe. We are very hunkered down. We've got I'm high risk. My eldest is high risk. So thankfully vaccines are coming out and I've had shot number 1. So I'm seeing the light, but it's been for me, it's been more having that experience like you and I just talked before we went live, that our eldest we're going through college applications. And so that has been a very interesting process, trying to apply for college during a pandemic. So you're virtually having to pick schools and research schools. So it's been it's been an experience, but I have to say, I am not a mom of 2 young kids. And I do think in general, even though every age has its thing, it has been a lot easier. I don't have little kids that I have to kind of be helping with homeschooling if you're virtual. I mean, I'm at full-blown teenager stage. So it's been easier for me, I would say, in terms of the parenting aspect so I feel for all of you out there with young kids. I really feel for you. But yeah, I mean, we are lucky compared to what a lot of people have been through. So I cannot complain because so many people have gone through so much loss and stress. And so I'm just glad to kind of feel where we are and take this moment today to just have a little bit of sunshine.
Yes, I love that. Cheesy, but no, lovely segue. I was thinking that. I mean, I feel like, we all have to do what we can to hack ourselves to give ourselves sunshine and lightness and levity and find the bright spots in this time. So I love that. And I do love your shirt. So can you tell us a little bit about, and actually, I just want to say, if anyone is watching this and has questions that you want to make sure Samantha answers, please feel free to share them. But tell us about this series. So you've got 4 books now. I see this as a real breakthrough series, but tell us a little bit about why you wanted to create it and how you kind of took that step to make it happen.
Okay, well, I've rehearsed this, so I'm ready. Okay,
perfect.
So Little Senses, it was created out of a need for something I wish I had as a child. I know it was very different for me because I was growing up in the 70s, so it's not the same as it was today, but to have a need for books without any qualitative adjectives or labels that made it easily accessible to everyone. By eliminating just personally for the series, by eliminating labels, I was hoping to connect more with kids that either share all or just some of the traits that I have exhibited in these books. The main idea being that saying of if you've met a kid with autism, you've met one kid with autism. It's important to emphasize and keep the interpretation open, which would allow more kids to see themselves in the characters in these books. Adding a touch of humor was very important. I think it creates a lighthearted approach that hopefully will pull the reader in and introduce the topics in an entertaining way, which ultimately would provide some hopefully lifetime tools for both the kids, caregivers, teachers, friends, basically anybody that could take something from these books. The biggest thing is I feel like the positive impact it would have on a reader's own emotional well-being, of feeling understood in a world that can often feel quite confusing and foreign. That I've worked really hard at to provide for the readers, because if you see your own way of looking at the world mirrored back at you, it creates a sense of inclusion. And especially if you see that the main character has succeeded in overcoming some overstimulation or stressful situation and provided that win, it would give the reader an empowerment to be able to say, I can do that, I can get through this, and spark conversation between caregiver and child. That's basically the main gist of the series. So it's been really wonderful to kind of have see the response and the reaction from readers because of that. And I think it's coming through, and I'm really excited.
That's so awesome. Yeah, as you were talking, I was thinking about, when my guy was little, at an age when he would have been reading these books. The books that everyone said to read is All Dogs Have ADHD, All Cats Have Asperger's, and then a couple books about that were more like what to do when your temper flares, what to do when you grumble too much. And so, I wish that books like this had existed, because they're beautifully written and they're beautifully illustrated, and they are children's books, right? They're not about.
The big thing was I didn't want to have a clinical look to them, and not all kids are. If you are discussing diagnoses with your children, I think it's all very varied, but there are kids that are going to be resistant to that. And when a book may be really helpful for a child to kind of understand how they see the world, if they're resistant to look at the book because the cover says something very like it would be very hard to just try to kind of connect with that child. And that's just one aspect of it. But I just really wanted it to be approachable and entertaining, and just like you said, for kids, that it could just lead into wonderful conversation. And it was just very important to have the pacing, the illustrations be just so to keep that connection and entertainment with the kids. Plus having, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Plus, I think having one story would have been too hard, just because for many kids on the spectrum, processing everyday sensory information can have a real profound effect on how they get through each day. And there's so many senses that are involved. You've got like visual, tactile, smell, auditory, vestibular. To try to put that all in one book would be, I feel, a near impossible. So I felt it was really important to have at least a good collection where I could just take each one and focus on one or two, and give it the due attention it needs. And then as a whole, you have a collective resource that would hopefully kind of work under this umbrella of all these senses.
Well, I think that is what you're doing. Absolutely. And I'm really curious to know about the publishing world, what the reception was when you first shared this idea. Like, did the publisher get it? Did they see that this was such a need that you were filling in the kids' book marketplace?
Yeah, I mean, I know that my editor is watching right now. So hello, I have to say hi, Kate. Hey. Hi, everybody that's watching. My agent, Kirsten Hall, she was really the catalyst to really get the ball rolling in terms of encouraging me to explore this. And it was something always brewing, but I needed that help and encouragement to be like, just let's do this. Let's give it a try. Let's see how it goes. So I wrote Nope, Never, Not For Me was the first one that I had roughed out. And we presented that along with just a general idea of what we thought other stories could be about, and presented that to the publisher. And Kate at Dial just right away was just so excited and passionate about the series. And once we started getting that conversation about what these books are for, how I really wanted them to be presented to the world, I just never felt so like I had a partner in let's do what we can to get these books. They need to get out there. And once that seed was planted, it was pretty incredible, because there's always so many people that have some connection and experience, whether it's another editor within this department, whether somebody has a child or knows of someone with children, that completely knew where I was coming from with this series. And from the get-go, just, I could not have been more thrilled with how passionate they were to also make sure that these books were presented the way that I felt they needed to be presented. They were very good about giving me feedback that I needed. There's a lot of back and forth and which has really been crucial, but they were also very, very they just let me kind of like certain things that I felt were really important. They're like, okay, we respect that. We want to make sure that these are really true to how you want these to come out into the world and your intention. So it was a great relationship with everybody. I mean, it really does take a village to make these books, and the team at Dial, there's so many people that were just a crucial part in helping to create the series, from Mina Chung, my art editor. She was incredible. Just everybody. I mean, I could go on and on, but it really was fun to just go through this whole process with them, because certain aspects were different from your typical making of a picture book. Case in point, like Can I Play Too? I also wanted these books to be, I kept envisioning them as useful tools in diagnostic office situations. So oftentimes when you're making a book, you will go through everything and make sure every single detail is consistent, and you will have meetings where you go through with other editors and other departments to make sure all the details are consistent throughout. And in Can I Play Too, I really wanted to purposely have a couple things that were a little bit different, whereas the main character's stripes, there's 2 pages where the stripes are different, because I kept envisioning a child reading that book in an office and saying, the stripes are different on page so-and-so than the earlier page. And almost as just one extra little tool to possibly help with the diagnoses as well. And just, I know that's one little detail, but that is what made this whole series. This Beach is Loud. I wanted it to be a beach that wasn't necessarily fully packed. It's not that for the neurotypical crowd, this is a very crowded beach. It's a very crowded beach for this child. So it was very important that the beach really wasn't crazy crowded. I mean, if you look at the pictures, it's not so crammed with people, but for this child, it feels like it is crammed with people. But there's so many little nuances that were just really important to have portrayed, and they were just so supportive of that. So it's been really, I was lucky. I was really lucky.
It's so great. Well, it sounds like the perfect marriage, because that's what you want, is a publisher who really understands your vision, and they bring their expertise to up level it, right? And
oh yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
I think I was struck when I first learned of your work and had you on the podcast, and that what you were just speaking to, those little details. I mean, I love children's publishing as just in general, like a good children's book is just, I just love it, because there's so much that you can do that the reader may not even realize is behind the scenes. So these little details that you've added, they make such a difference.
Well, and it's kind of a lot of it too is for, even though these books are for really any kid with sensitivities could get something out of these books, but for the families that perhaps have children that are really that are related to what I was intending for, they will see right away. They'll go, oh, I see that. Oh, I noticed that. Like just kind of details that I don't spell it out loud for you, but I think when you're I want a sense of, oh, I get it. Oh, I get it. And I want the reader to be like, oh, okay, I get this. And I really worked hard to try to portray that.
Love that. Will you tell us a little bit more about this brand new book, which came out yesterday? For those of you watching this, we are giving 2 copies of this away as well. So the way to be entered in the giveaway contest is to just leave a comment, and I'll actually leave the contest open for 24 hours because I know there are going to be people who watch this after the fact, but leave a comment about something, that struck you from this conversation. How about that? And then you'll be
Perfect.
entered in the contest. But will you tell us more about specifically this book? I loved this.
Yes, yes. It was supposed to be Sunny, the last one of the series, and it's all about unexpected change. So our dear Layla has a birthday party coming up, a sparkly sunshine celebration. So it's all in the plans of what was going to happen. And of course, it rains. So how does one handle an unexpected change? And throughout the journey, another unexpected change occurs. And just learning, she gains the tools through her mother and a little time with her service dog of just how to get through an unexpected moment and know that you will be okay and that things are still going to turn out. Even though plan A didn't end up working out, plan B is still going to be great. And at the end of the day, you're still going to have the birthday party. You're still going to have a great time. And it just may be tweaked or a little bit different, but it's how we handle and we react to those unexpected moments that would really kind of make how it resolves in the end. I think this is one of my favorite ones.
Mm-hmm.
I just loved how this one turned out with the colors, the character. I really connected with her and the mom and the service dog. It's basically mirrored after our dog at home. And it's a lovely book. And even within the book, there's visual, subtle suggestions on other alternatives. So when you're having a birthday party, whether you don't have candles, you can do something else instead of candles. At the end of the story, we don't have the loud happy birthday to you song, which I know for many kids can be a bit overwhelming and traumatic. Here, there's a suggestion of a birthday jar where it's a more quiet, celebratory experience where each child can put in a wish into the jar as a means of saying happy birthday. So even though it's just an entertaining story, there's a lot of little tricks and tips and tools that I've kind of tried to weave throughout the piece.
Mm-hmm. I'm just going to show, I just love the illustration so much. If you guys can see how beautiful the art style is, there's the service dog. It's just very sweet and so relatable. Like you can just feel like we've all been there when something has not worked out the way our child was expecting. And then we have to figure out, how do we turn this around, hopefully so that our child can emerge from this knowing that this is survivable and this can be okay. And maybe there's a strategy, there's something we can take with us.
Yeah, and I think again, the most important, so for just example, okay, here we go. So our young Layla is really freaking out that it's now raining and the mother is trying to kind of provide some calm, and she's sitting down with her daughter and talking about things that we can change. There's things that there's things we can control and there's other things we cannot. But then let's see, changing plans can be hard, but sometimes surprises are fun. And here, just giving an illustration of, remember the time we got lost in the car, we still made it home and discovered our favorite new shop. So just those key words of saying, the end result still occurred. Mm-hmm. It's just a different route to getting there, but it's going to be okay. And something I still have to do myself today, even like if my husband were going to the grocery store and he likes to go a different way than I like to go, I start to get all clam up. I get stressed out. I start to clench, and I know what's happening because I really get frustrated because he's not going the way I like to go. Yeah. And I'll be like, okay, we're still going to get to the grocery store. It's just not going to be down the route that I prefer to go down, but it's going to be okay. Yeah. And that's kind of what the catalyst for this book was those little moments that can really quite be intense for so many kids. A simple driving on the way home and being, I just want to stop in here. And that wasn't part of the plan. And getting a child to be able to get through that, where you weren't expecting to need to stop into the store on the way home, but you have to without warning, and we can get through that. We're still going to get home. It's going to be okay. I know it wasn't part of the plan. And I know that so many kids have can have a really tough time getting through those moments. So this is just a way to hopefully illustrate and show that you can do that, and it's going to be okay. And it could be wonderful. You could discover something new. Sometimes there's some positives that can come out from change, and the case in point here, which you will find out when you read the story. How's
nice
that?
Teaser. You have to read it. I'm just curious about your process. Do you have a preference over illustrating? How does the book come together?
I think I am a very visual thinker, I just think in pictures. So to write down a story all in text just doesn't work for me. It's more a back and forth. And I think they look really horrible when they start out, because I usually start with Post-it notes, but Post-it notes are great because you can just rip them off, put new ones on, layer ones on top, but it's a very crude, horrible pencil sketches where it's a balance of drawings and words. Sometimes the words come, sometimes the pictures come first. I cannot isolate it. I can't make a book just from pictures or make a book. They have to go together. So in a way it works being both the illustrator and author, because I can work with both. And that's the way that stories come out of my head the best. And it's a really great method for me, because I try really hard to limit the amount of words on each page. When you have so few words, each word has so much weight to it. So a lot of people could be like, oh, picture book with just so many words, I'll write one, but it's hard. It would be so easy, I think, or not easy, easier to just be able to just spill it all out in like paragraph form, but to get the message across in the least amount of words is really tough. And how much of that can be illustrated through the pictures. So what I often do is I go back and forth and I ask myself, okay, on this spread, what can the picture say that the word doesn't need to be there, because the picture is showing that. It's really important to have the pictures also tell the story. And it's just a lot of editing down and down and down and down until I have the essential marriage of text and illustration, where on their own, it wouldn't work. The text alone wouldn't work and the illustrations wouldn't work, but together they work really well. And that's the most important thing for this series, especially with the parents and the dialogue, where there's only so much input information that kids can take before they shut their ears and are not going to be able to listen and take in any more information. So what can you do as a parent or a caregiver in these books, where you say what you need to say in the minimum amount of space possible that still allows for the child to input the information before overload comes. And it can be really tough to communicate. So some of these books, some pages came easy, other pages were me banging my head on the wall going, I can't do this, it's taking so, I can't figure this out, because this one word is just not, it really is important. And every word just had such valuable weight to it. So that's how I work. And then I use pen and ink and illustrate on paper and paint textures. And then I put them together into Photoshop. And it's just a very organic experience where I just go back and forth till it finally surfaces.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. I love that. And you're absolutely right that writing a children's book, I wrote a number of Blue's Clues books 20 plus years ago.
I knew that.
I
researched you. I was like, Blue's Clues? I had no idea.
It seems like so many lifetimes ago, but consequently, and this may be the case for you too, I get a lot of people asking me, like they have a child and suddenly they're like, hey, I have a kid's book I want to write. And it seems like it's only, 80 words. Like, how hard can it be? And you were so right. When you have so few words, every word matters so much. And it's really difficult to get it right. And I think, I mean, I could just gush about this series. I love this series so much. I so wish this was available when I had a little guy. And we would have read these books over and over and over again. So I think it just did such a beautiful job. And I'm wondering what's next. Are there going to be more Little Senses books? Do we need to talk to your publisher about this?
Right now it's at 4.
Okay.
I do think probably depends on how it goes with all of these 4. So, I mean, I don't want to say closed ended, but for now it's 4.
Okay.
And it was important that I did the best I could. And I put 4 best books that I could do. So I put my heart and soul into these. And especially since the publisher bought the books with seeing the first one and then an idea of the next 3, I was like, I got to make sure this one, next number 2's a good one. And then number 3, I got to make sure the third one's really good. And so there's always that little bit of scare and timid, like, oh gosh, I hope I can do it. I hope I can do it. But even if it stops at 4, I'm super, super proud of what I've put out. I wanted to make sure that, assuming it's 4, that this 4 does cover the basis and is a good collective whole that can just do what it needs to do and be a wonderful resource for many people out there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, viewers, Facebook friends, YouTube friends, whoever's watching this, again, the series is Little Senses. There are 4 books in the series. The most recent one just came out. It was supposed to be sunny. Yeah, whatever.
Can I say one thing? I know it's always so awkward as an author, an illustrator, but it's not selfishly asking, but it's more for reaching out for other people to be able to find the books. If anybody has read the book or any of the books and loves them, to leave a review, because the reviews help other families find the books. And my main goal in writing these books is to try to reach as many families, schools, therapeutic offices, just as many people that need the books as possible. So in order to find them, I think, I don't know your experience as an author as well, but the more reviews, the more we can reach and find these people that are looking for, and just even reading the reviews can say, oh, I think maybe this book will be what I need for my child. Or the response just has been really just so wonderful to this series that it just makes me want to like flood this and just like, oh, we need to get this into as many people's hands as possible. And I just had to say, like with Beach is Loud, when that one came out, I was really wonderfully surprised about the reaction from so many people that had even picked up the book, not even knowing what the book was about, like that it was really designed for kids. And I wanted to share today why a reminder of why I do what I do and why I'm making these books. And I received an email, one of my first emails, from a parent that wrote, as we got to reading, my son sat still, paid attention, didn't blurt out, and at one point looked at me with wide, excited eyes because the boy in the book was almost an exact replica of our last trip to the beach. He looked at me and excitedly said, "Can we try again next weekend?" And the fact that this boy was able to recognize himself, saw the experience unfold, saw the character win, and then they ended up going to the beach next weekend, and it turned out to be a wonderful experience for them. But it's those emails that I go, okay, this is why I'm doing these books. It's just that whole mirroring and positive, just seeing success. It just, I don't know. I'm starting to get all blah, 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 but
no, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, that was the first email I had received. And then even for this Beach is Loud, I also, not spectrum related, like it was important to just have a whole diverse range of people within each book. And in The Beach is Loud, there's a little girl running across the beach that has a diabetic patch. And she's just part of the scene, part of the landscape, just playing with a beach ball. And I cannot tell you how many emails I got from parents that it was the first time they'd ever seen a character with a diabetic patch, which saddened me a little bit that this was the first time that had been illustrated. And it really, I just kind of turned a light bulb on of, okay, I have more to do. And if there's as many chances that I have to just create opportunities of mirroring within the book, I'm going to try my best to do that. But I did not, it was just a little detail that I wanted to put in there because I have a lot of friends with kids that have diabetes, and I wanted to I told them, I was like, oh, I'll put a little like homage to you in the book, because they're like, we need to see a diabetic patch in the book. So I was like, yeah, okay. And which is great, but I did not expect the amount of people to respond from that little spot. And it just, it was a beautiful experience to have. So.
So wonderful. I love that. Yes. Thank you. Those things matter. Normalizing these experiences, the way that all of these children are going through the world matters so much. And I would just encourage someone, my friend Margaret, who's watching, so she's going to buy the series for their OT location. I would say if your kids are in preschool or elementary school, like buy these for the libraries at those places, like, not just for neurodivergent kids, but even in terms of just helping give context for all children.
Yeah, I think for friends, for classmates to gain an understanding of perhaps what their friend is experiencing, how their friend views the world, how their siblings. There's so many people that could really benefit from these books, and it's just been I can't believe we're at 4 books now. Like, it's been such a journey. I feel like I've done, like, it just was a good life goal for me to be able to put something out there that I felt contributed and hopefully helped some people along the way.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Awesome. Well, listen, I want to say thank you, first of all, and congratulations again on the latest book in this series. And yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today.
Thank you for having me on.
My pleasure. It was nice to see you.
Yeah, you too. I got interviewed by the Blue's Clues author.
Oh, yeah. Well, good luck with this. And we will, of course, stay in touch and keep me posted on all the goodness that you're up to. And good luck with the next phase of post-COVID reality and the snow melting and all of that stuff.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. And thanks for having me on.
You're so welcome. It was good to see you. Have a great day.
Bye,
everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. Leave more comments and I will choose a winner, 2 winners for the giveaway that we're doing. Just leave a comment on what struck you from this conversation and you will be in the drawing. All right. Bye, everybody.